hello to tonight, or I haven't met before. My name is Deb DeHaas, and I am Vice Chairman and Midwest Regional Managing Partner of Deloitte. So on behalf of all my colleagues at Deloitte, I'd like to welcome you here tonight to this reception. We're really delighted to host what we hope is the first of many leadership giving events. And I'm also very proud to be currently the board chair of United Way Metropolitan Chicago. I've been a United Way donor for 29 years, ever since I came to Chicago, and have had the privilege really of taking on a variety of roles for United Way over the years. And I was actually talking to someone today, and they were saying, well, so why are you involved with United Way? And I have to say, United Way is something I'm really passionate about. I think it just it's such a valuable part of our community. It brings people together, just like tonight, and I think it really is focused on what the real issues are. And we have a lot of challenges and issues here in our greater Chicagoland community, and I think we're going to have a great panel here tonight, so thanks to all of you for being here to talk about what obviously is a very challenging issue. Not only am I a big supporter of United Way, but I'm really proud of my colleagues here at Deloitte. We've been a top 10 company here over the last couple years in Chicago. The last 2 years, we've exceeded $1 million with our total giving. We've been the largest total giver in Chicago, and so we have a really strong commitment to United Way and to all of its programs. And we're just really proud of what United Way does, and we're proud to be their partner. Personally, in my role, I'm also really proud of the great organization that we have at United Way, and so it's my great privilege to introduce to you United Way's CEO, Laura Thrall. And so thank you again for being here tonight, and look forward to having a great evening.
Deb has already decided this is not the same level microphone. Well, good evening and welcome. It's really exciting to see so many people that are interested in this topic and that have joined us tonight. We have a pretty amazing panel, so I'm sure that was the draw, although it could be the great hospitality by Deloitte. Let's hear it for, not from We very much appreciate that. I really want to say a special welcome to our leadership givers who are here tonight. Those are givers that give more than $1,000 a year to United Way, and we open this event up to them. And as a means to educate our donors about the things that we're doing in the community and the really important critical issues that we face. So I first want to say thank you to Deloitte for hosting this. Deb is modest in her discussion about Deloitte's role with United Way, because not only are they a very large corporate contributor, the largest Stokeville donor, Deb's our chair and has been involved for many years, they are also an enormous pro bono partner for us in aggregating pro bono services for the entire sector. We've got a couple of very large projects going with Deloitte right now. I'm not sure if their contribution was bigger to 2016 or to the United Way, but we've got to be getting close. So we really appreciate the support that they bring, not just to United Way, but the work that we do throughout the sector. And speaking of United Way's role, you might be wondering, why are we aggregating this panel? Well, really what United Way does, and for those of you who know us, I know many of our agency partners are here tonight, United Way really plays at the intersection of clients, providers, corporate partners, government, community leaders, and in many places we play that role of aggregating and bringing people to the table to really solve for critical issues. Now, what some of you might not know is that United Way is the second largest funder of health and human services in the state of Illinois. You might not know that we're deeply embedded in advocacy work and policy work. We actually co-founded the Chicago Community Trust, the Illinois Partners for Human Services, which is a coalition that's now over 500 organizations strong. We work very hard with our partners to build capacity. We created, in conjunction with the trust, the back office cooperative, a private corporation that actually does shared purchasing, so we can save money for our agency partners. And we work very hard to build capacity with our agency partners, especially in times that are very difficult right now. So over the next few months, you'll be hearing even more about what we're trying to do as the sector continues to shrink in funding, both at the state level and private philanthropy dollars. We're doing a lot of work to make sure that we can keep the sector strong as possible with shrinking resources. But tonight we're here to talk about issues in the workforce development piece, and really talking about how do we link and train folks to get jobs, and how do we, as an economy, build jobs so that we can bring business to Illinois and get people reemployed. So first, my job is pretty easy tonight. I get to ask a question, and I get to set the context, kind of the environmental context for what we're doing. So I just wanted to touch on a few things, which I'm sure most of you are very aware of. In Illinois, does anybody know what the state unemployment rate is? Almost 12%. So, but does anyone know what some of the most impacted communities' unemployment rate is? Yes. Some of the low-income communities in our region are up to 27% unemployment. It's almost reaching depression-era unemployment. And so not only do we have a lot of folks out of work, but we are not developing jobs to put those people back to work. Because what do they call the current recovery? A jobless recovery. So what we found with a lot of our own corporate partners, their campaigns are down because they've laid off staff. And as they return to profitability, they're not putting that staff back on because they've learned to do more with less. And I think all of us who are working realize we're doing more with less, right? And we're having less free time. So that's currently really the environment in which we play. The other thing that is really critically important to consider as the context of our discussion tonight is what I'll call the state budget train wreck. You know, as who knows what the state budget deficit is? We've all heard it. Okay. And it's not fair to have a panel. $13 billion. And which state in the country has the highest unfunded pension liability? We live in it. Illinois, there you go. So we've had some big problems at the state level, right? And the state is the largest funder of health and human services. So as we talk about workforce development, we need to have organizations like CARA and Women Employed that, and our agency partners that are here today that do job training, job placement, and workforce development. Those agencies, especially now, need to be totally funded. And right now, the government continues to slash health and human services to the tune of almost $5 billion since 2004. And this year, we know there's going to be additional cuts. So right now, when the need is greatest, not just for support services and health and human services, but in workforce readiness and job training, all the agencies that provide that are being cut. So it's kind of a perfect storm. The other thing to consider is that we're working really in a different environment than we used to as far as people's jobs and careers. It used to be you could get trained for a job or go to college for something specific or be trained in a trade and you had a job for life, right? You got out and got a pension. That's absolutely not the case anymore. So people are really finding themselves now having to be retrained for jobs several times during their career life. We're working, is Marie Lynch here? She's on the guest list. Okay. United Way, this is a good example, is working with the City of Chicago, where Daley's newest project, or his real pet project, is Chicago Career Tech. And Daley's concept is that we really need to turn this into a city that has highly trained technology workers. So he started a program where he's trying to retrain people that are highly educated but unemployed, middle-class workers that thought they had a job for life, and now are finding themselves unemployed for 12, 18 months, 24 months. So we're actually a partner in that program, in the retraining process, and replacing some of those folks in nonprofit agencies. But, you know, the point is that we can't look at these issues the way that we used to because times have changed and we're living in an unprecedented environment. So that's what we're here to talk about tonight. Fortunately, we have a fabulous panel. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, but you know, this is a great kind of cross-functional panel because we have great folks that work at the city and in policymaking, people who actually work at agencies that are providing job training placement, people who are kind of, David, I'm talking about you, the think tank and policy wonks of the world that are really the leading voices of these issues, and Carrie as well. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but we have Evelyn Diaz. Of course, I won't know all that. I will have to turn my notes. Oh, you know what? I looked at my notes. It just occurred to me. I want to mention one other thing, is that one of our partners and someone who has been really helpful in kind of being the driving force in how we think about all of these issues is the Chicago Metropolitan Association for Planning, CMAP. And so certainly wanted to highlight their participation because they are also trying to be the glue that is helping us look at these issues in a collaborative way, because I think the real answer, and we'll talk about the answers tonight, is that in an environment of shrinking resources, it's more important than ever that we have a common strategy, common goals, shared perspective, and aggregate the resources towards a common purpose. So tonight,